Hello and welcome to the session on recruiting in the digital age. I'm Leela Jacinto. There's right now, as we speak, a whole range of artificial intelligence, AI-driven tools being employed in the recruitment process at various levels. But what we have seen, what polls are showing us time and again over the past 2 years, is that with executives whose organizations are involved in automation projects, they claim to have a sort of a readiness gap about this new technology. And on the public awareness front, there seems to be an awareness gap and an unease. So since OECD is all about what brings us together, this is a very good forum to address this extremely new range of tools and its impact, and to have various stakeholders share their experiences. And for that, I have a very good panel here with us. There's, in the center is Mr. Christophe Montagne. He is the CIO of Randstad France. This is a multinational human resources consulting firm that specializes in human resources at various levels. We have Sarah Pace. She is the technical advisor to the executive director at FGV Projetos Brazil. And she actually has experience of using AI in the recruitment process as an applicant. So that'll be interesting to hear experience as well. And last but certainly not the least is Mr. Rihad Coles. Very familiar face here. Mr. Coles is a member of parliament in Latvia and a member of several committees, including the delegation to OECD, and he will be sharing with us things from the policy front. So welcome, everyone. Very nice to be with you. Mr. Montagne, let me start with you, since you are in human resources. Can you explain to us, are you using AI-driven tools, and how do they work, briefly?
Yes, we are using AI tools. First, maybe to highlight some goals in the why. If you look at the job market, there is the buckets of candidates and the buckets of offer. There are large numbers of people and large numbers of offer. So we need tools and algorithm to get suggestion. As a candidate, you need to be able to find the right offer, and you need suggestion for that, because otherwise it's very complex. It's not easy to move as a candidate, and it's exactly the same things as a company to find the right people. So it's a use in terms of efficiency of the process, transparency for the people, and help to the job market to be more efficient. What we are using is using tools to make the process better as an experience for the candidate and more accurate for the company. And this is the two goals are parallel into our goal. And I would say the more critical one is, and it's very linked to our strategy, is how we are doing the combination with technology and human. How we are using the technology in the right dot of the value chain of the process, if you mean, and then where and when we are using the human part, the touch part, when we need empathy, when we need to understand people. And this is what we are looking for in our strategy, is those combination, looking at technology when the technology could add things, and looking at human when it's more relevant.
Right, because that is the specific concern. You know, with AI, it could be, you could understand the use of AI in manufacturing or finance, but in human resources, there is very much the human element, which is a whole area of concern. Have you come across any areas in your working experience where, you know, you are losing the human element, or in making judgments on the human element?
But I think we will discuss what is the candidate experience, but the technology also add personalization. You could add personalization with the technology, and you could also add transparency. If you look at many processes of recruitment, at the moment there is not always transparency. That is sometimes just a black box for people waiting for answers, and then technology could help a lot. So yes, we can be afraid about technology, and sometimes we can imagine that technology will put human out of this process, but for our perspective, the technology could need to help to be more human. need to solve the issue of, say, productivity to spend more time with people, and then the technology will give more, insight of the candidate, and then we will be more accurate. So at the moment, yes, we can look at technology as a fear to be less human, but we don't think that the technology will add that. We use technology to be more close to people.
Right. Sarah, let me ask you at this stage, because Christoph was talking about the user. What was your experience using AI technology in the recruitment process as an applicant? Just situate us. How did it work?
Well, so you need to face a machine, a computer. Sometimes can be a little bit frustrating because as a human being, you have to answer questions on the computer, and then the computer is actually evaluating your responses, and it can be a little bit frustrating because in the end, we work with people. It's people to people. So why would you be doing all the recruitment process, or at least a phase of the recruitment process, with a computer? So I think my main concern with all this AE, and of course it's inevitable, and this is just the beginning, we still have a long way to go on that area. But my main concern is more on the humanity side, and are we really being less biased by using the AI? Because in the end of the day, who programs the machines? Is the man still programs the machines? So I understand the benefits, obviously, but I think he has to be look at case by case, also sector by sector, which are the positions you are interviewing. And I think in the beginning they were widespread to many positions and applications, and I think it hindered some of the processes, recruitment processes, and quite personally, the position I'm currently occupying was a totally different process of recruiting. It was very one-on-one. All my interviews they were people to people, and I think that's for my area of expertise, that's the only way possible. But I recognize that in other sectors, having a more AE selection process may be more useful.
Right, that seems to be the experience, which is a mixture of AI and human. Rihad, I want to ask you, Sarah touched on a very basic concern, is that with AIs, there are humans programming machines to make judgments on humans. Isn't there a fear or a danger that these machines will just be propagating a bias more ruthlessly and efficiently than humans?
Well, I slightly disagree. I think the final decision will be always made by a human, either to recruit or not. Well, I welcome the AI tools implemented in recruitment area, whereas that helps, companies be more efficient. It reduces costs to recruit the talent they're looking for, and they provide this necessary tools to obtain the information of potential candidate, which saves time and money altogether, and it actually helps to shortlist, because in the end, the one that will be recruited to the company will be human-to-human interaction, and final decision will be made by human, not by the AI. But I wanted to touch upon different aspects. Well, we talk about the AI and how it affects already the daily lives and so on. I truly think that true artificial intelligence, it's not there. It will be like next decade or so. And so therefore, we still need to focus on those tools that we have right now. And we live right now in the information age. I think 21st century will see the end of information age and the dawn of the artificial intelligence. And also in some respect, the human dominance at some point. But those are futuristic, thoughts. But nevertheless, right now we have all the tools necessary to scrutinize the information about the potential candidates It's publicly actually available on different professional social networks, platforms, and etc. It's freely available. And of course, using the artificial intelligence programs saves time and a lot of workforce that is put for hours and hours just assessing different kind of information. So therefore, this is a good part, but there is also a downside for that as well, which is privacy. And in that respect, data privacy. Of course, everybody can argue nowadays that, well, we have to argue, is there actually absolute privacy? Well, I partially agree that there is not, because everyone wants to live in a secure environment. And secure environment actually asks you to give up some part of your privacy. And therefore, paramount thing about any future IT tools that are developed are actually the OECD title, best practices and policies adopted. And therefore, I think what we need and urgently need to address, because even the artificial intelligence, they operate in cyberspace. It cannot operate in others. I mean, in the house you can have a computer and so on, but you have to bring a lot of data in to analyze and have different tools. And therefore, the need for global standards and rules in cyberspace is actually paramount, and we lack that. And if we don't address this issue right now, when all other technologies are developing, well, we will see a lot of problems in the not far future.
Well, then you're a good one to ask this. Can you bring us up to speed on what has been happening on the policy front? Are we looking at an EU-wide regulations of this? And if so, is it too early? Are we just doing academic exercises? Where are we really in formulating policy?
Well, Europe is all about, digital single market, digital government, and all that.
How do you regulate it?
Well, there is overall regulation on digital single market, which is being improved step by step. But then there are separate member states that are advancing in, for example, e-governance and different regulations. And therefore, about the artificial intelligence at EU level, well, it's still in its diapers. Well, I don't think we have addressed that issue in very core, but there is already commitment to actually look into that, how we can automation, robotization, how we're going to compensate if it affects the current labor market, and all these issues already being talked and discussed and looked into, the policies best to adapt, not to hurt businesses, but to improve that in both the private sector is protected, individuals are protected, and also the public sector as well. Everything is guaranteed.
Right, because one of the dangers that could happen is that as this technology is advancing, what could actually be happening is that big corporations could be sweeping up much more local players. And and right now we are talking about human resources. So I mean, for policymakers, discrimination and access of opportunity is extremely important. Are we going to are we looking at this?
Well, did I unplug it? Oh no. Well, the thing is how fast we adopt to new initiatives, new challenges. And of course, labor market is one of the questions. And in Europe, in the European Union, we have set up lifelong learning programs across, member states. And that is a tool that actually allows those who are maybe hard skill labor market individuals to adapt to new labor market, conditions and requirements. And therefore, in this regard, we also have set up this, just forgot the name of it. Sorry? Exactly, opportunities. And I just can talk about Latvia's case in particular. So now we have very low unemployment level. We lack skilled labor force. And we lack skilled labor force, in particular in IT sector. Right now, the demand is so high that the Latvian university needs to each year release at least 3,000 IT specialists. 3,000. So therefore, I think whoever needs, it's about also individual person's attitudes. Do I want to learn some new skills and improve myself so I'm more competitive in the labor market? That's, individual question where no country can actually enforce something on individual, but country can provide tools and instruments that the person can actually develop his skills, additional skills to ones he acquired in, I don't know, in university or in other area, and adopt to the labor market needs.
Well, I mean, you touched on an important point when it comes to human capital. It's not just the recruitment, it is the development in organizations. Christophe, is there a room for AI where once candidates are in an organization, that AI can be employed to develop their skills and to, in fact, integrate and make them feel like they belong?
AI, the machine learning need to help us also to understand what is link the people to the success. And what is really crucial if, are you training all the algorithms based on the fact that the people are selected or not, or are you training the algorithm on the success of people? And if your only goal is to make the process more efficient for the recruiters, I think we miss something. We need to catch what is linked to the success on the job. What is help the people to be in success with this team or with this job in this company. And if we look at that, there is a lot of dimension on the people. Cognitive skills, behavior skills, soft skills, and technical skills. And we know all that where is the most liquidity, where is the most able to train is in technical skills. The other skills need to be understand, and we need to understand the different dimension of people, because this is more difficult to move as a people. If we want to move our behaviors, or if we want to move our cognitive skills, it's far more complex to do as a person. So we need to use also technology to understand what's link people to the success in one position, but then if you know this outside in the organization, also in the organization, to help the people to move into the organization.
Right, but I mean, if you're looking at an algorithm that will make a comparison on a profile of a success, how much easier for a machine to have a profile of a success as, for instance, a white male candidate coming out of certain organizations, you know? Are we going to address the issue of inclusiveness and discrimination? Sarah, do you want to?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I think that's one of the main concerns, is AE bringing more inclusiveness. Mm-hmm. What happens to those people that they don't have access to a computer, they will not be able to interview? I think that's one of the pain points of when we are discussing AE in the recruitment process.
Christophe, do you fear that people in, out of the Western Europe, North America bubble, older people, is AI an ageist technology?
I want to maybe highlight with one experience. We launched 6 months ago a chatbot to help people in the recruitment phase. The chatbot was launched in Facebook Messengers, in few works, in few towns, with not a lot of noises. What do we learn? A lot of people are using mobile at the moment. It's not very. There is less discrimination in using mobile. People are in mobile in the bot, spend in conversation with the chatbot during this process, average 24 minutes, discussing their profile with the bots, making games, understanding their cognitive skills, getting some feedback, play some game also about technical skills, and then get some offer or advice at the end of the process. And then at the end, we score. We ask the people, do you like this experience? Do you learn something? Do you want to share this experience with other people? And the maximum was 10, and we were ranked more than 8, and we find 15,000 people, and scarcity, with a lot of scarcity on the profile that we're looking for. And what we definitely learn is we can change the experience of people using the right way of the conversation with people, and then this is using AI also to learn about the people and also change your experience with the people. And it's also very crucial to find a way to be in contact with people. Again, that's for me using technology to make a very personal contact. It is not using technology to be, just in front of a computer and then waiting for an answer. This is, using a technology to be on the dialogue with the candidate.
I have to ask you about data. I mean, you brought this up, but if all these machines are being trained based on data, what is the solution? Is it transparency? How do you square that with privacy? And what can be done on the policy front?
Well, I think you mentioned the core elements for all this discussion, transparency. It is a paramount, and of course there is a concern about all these new tools that are available. How can they provide the necessary protection of certain information about individuals, their habits, their routine things, and so on. And well, we saw just in the past, not recent past, a case with Cambridge Analytica as well. Everybody, I think, in auditorium is aware of that. And this is a scary stuff, I think, for anybody in this room, I guess, as well, that the artificial intelligence can actually bring up your profile, your weaknesses, your strengths, your biases, everything, and then just delivering, the end notes to the one who's making the final decision just based on these facts. It actually can bring a lot of problems in the long term. Same applies to discrimination as well. And so therefore, my argument is that nobody can replace one thing that humans have. It's empathy. And that is a crucial part in any recruitment process. Understanding, listening, all these skills. Well, machines don't have that. And so therefore, I would just, I approve in a way of introducing artificial intelligence in a way that it's shortlisting, in that kind of way, but not giving, the final decision, this is the person, the talent you're looking for, and so on, because there's so many, a lot of things connected to us as humans, as, those things that no machine can actually calculate or any algorithm to come up with a decision.
Right, and also when it comes to legislating, at some point you need feedback, and can we trust the feedback coming from, for instance, the corporate sector? On that level, there has to be transparency. Sarah, do you, as a civil society person, is there room here to, in order to assess how AI is working in human resources and share this information, objective information?
Yes, I think that could be one of the uses to AI to try to solve that loophole, because in many recruitment processes, as a former applicant, that is one of the biggest frustrations. You never get feedback if you are not accepted to that job. And feedback is very important to evolve, to move on to the next position, to improve, to be a better person, and to know where you failed so you can grow. So I think maybe AI could help in that direction too. I don't know if we are going towards that, but I would like to see that for sure.
I mean, on the other side too, if candidates just max what feedback a machine is being required, they could just have, you could just answer your questions in a way that gives the machine what they want to hear, which a human judgment would be able to tell if these are just, stock answers. Is that another concern, or is AI so advanced that they can tell standard rote questions to get a job?
Absolutely not, for sure. And again, if I believe, I start with using the word suggest, or suggestion is also because I truly believe that it's only suggestion. It's not a decision part. It's suggest something. And what is, for me, at the moment, I would say, crucial when we are looking at data, for example, is maybe discuss about what is the resume part, because we are using a lot of algorithms are using resume as a data sources. But what is a resume? Can we trust the data in a resume, or can we trust the data into one offer? What is a resume? A resume is the way that you present yourself to be a success in a recruitment process. Do you also, as a candidate, always need this job? You don't always know. You're not sure that you will be a success and you will be pleased with this job. So the content of what is only the resume is not enough. We really just could do some suggestion with a resume. But we need to really understand that a person is far more than a resume. It's like if you want to know Marcel Proust and you go to Wikipedia and then you read the Wikipedia page of Marcel Proust and you are claiming that you are understanding Marcel Proust. This is, you know, we are more complex than the resume. So we need more. Of course, if you're using a resume that's just approaching the people, and then you need the people, another people, human people, to understand more what is this person. And now, if we want to move further with the AI, we need to add dimension to the resume. And the AI is also moving into understanding voice, understanding image, and maybe understanding videos. And maybe we can also use this in several dots of the process of the value chain, maybe to use AI. But at the moment, of course, we will stay on suggestion.
I'm just wondering, you know, we're ready to wrap. I'm wondering, given that you're sitting, you know, in Parliament, you know, what's your takeaway with what's come up so far?
Well, one thing is, of course, we have to be cautious with what we play, because sometimes human nature is in a way that, you know, sometimes we don't even realize that we are playing with the fire. And so therefore, AI, well, that is something we saw last year passing away, Hodgkins. And he was the one who actually, one of his strongest last messages was, be careful what you play with artificial intelligence. And so therefore, my feedback from this to my parliament and at the broader level, at the EU level, is actually to push forward with the global regulation and standards in this area. Because leaving something without any supervision in a way can, you know, lead to things that we can't even imagine. So therefore, carefulness would be, I mean, it's welcome, the new technologies are welcome, but we have to be careful because, you know, one thing I also wanted to mention that in all this topic, emotional intelligence, you cannot apply to artificial intelligence. That it doesn't go together and will never go together. And the last point I wanted to make is that we saw that, you know, the most biggest developments in IT and technology, they're actually usually comes from the military industry. So my question would be, would military industry or the states apply the artificial intelligence in recruitment of military personnel? Because that is, you know, something that provides security in a broader aspect.
Well, that's a good question to ask, Christophe. Recruiting for the military is probably an easier process than recruiting soft skills and emotional intelligence, which is required in the job. What's your takeaway from this? Do you think, and also what Christophe said about, you know, a structure to address this, do you think that policymakers are going ahead, or do they really need to learn the examples of industry in order to formulate policy?
I want to start with one story. We had 1 week of design thinking with Centrale Supélec, with a top-level engineer school in France, discussing with the final year of these guys, digital tech year. And there was 4 teams competing and design thinking about the recruitment process. And one of the main conclusions of those people was, as soon as possible, we want to meet someone. And those guys are representing millennials and the technical part, and they are working always with AI. And when they discuss about the recruitment process, they want to meet someone. Of course, why? Because again, we are touching the emotional part. We are touching the empathy, and they want to be really in contact with the company, with real people who live in this company. Because yes, when we are in the recruitment process, we ask, what is the skill of these people? Those people can work on my company? Can you work with these managers in this team? But if you look at the candidate, at one point of time, we are all faced this question for ourselves. What I am able to do, in what company I want to work, in what kind of team I will be pleased to. We need to make all those processes very transparent, because both parts need to understand and get feedback about this, because it's so crucial. When you take the decision of be in a company, it's a very important decision in your life. And then that's very crucial. And the fact that the moment the data is so crucial in the legal part, it's a good thing also for transparency. And then that's need to help us to share more, to be more clear on what we are doing with data, what we learn, and then also sharing the learnings with the candidate, because the candidate will be pleased with the learnings.
Right, so what you seem to be saying is that there is definitely room for the human element. Sarah, time's up, you just have a few seconds. Do you feel your concerns that you came in with have been addressed?
No, absolutely. I think it's inevitable to move towards more AI-driven processes, and I just hope we'll never forget the humanity side, transparency, privacy too, and I agree, we need to move with caution, but it's inevitable. It's here to stay.
All right, and I guess that's all we have time for. I think what we can actually get out of this is in fact, you summed it up very well. The human element, making policy on this, but it is an inevitable process, and I think one of the areas is actually to make public awareness about this. Thank you for joining us today.